All right, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back to You Don't Know Ball, episode 48. Glad to have you guys back with us here in the studio. We got a fun, exciting episode for you guys today. I know I'm excited about this one. I think Hunter is too.
I'm very excited.
Because this one's going to generate a lot of fun discussions, especially in the comments, hopefully. So we got the record predictions. But this is not like some, we're not coming to you guys wrong like a lot of pages do. They're just pulling numbers out their ass. The numbers don't match up. No. We use tools. We use a specific tool here. What is this? Playoffpredictors.com. Shouts to playoffpredictors.com, man. They have a great website here we found. Hunter found, actually. But I was using it. And yeah, so the point is it's going to put together the record for us week by week. We did this week by week. This is all put together. So every team, it's going to be even. It all makes sense. And we're excited to share with you guys, man. So how should we start this? What do you think?
So let's start it off like this. Okay. Let's not say like our record predictions right away, but let me ask you a question going through this, because something I found was this is actually really hard to do. Like really hard to do, because I ran through it probably about 4 or 5 times. And the first time I was like, oh my God, I have so many teams like sucking. And
that you didn't want to suck.
Right. So what I was doing wrong, I feel like, is I was just picking who I thought the better team was. And at the end of the day, it says the saying's any given Sunday. So like I tried to start throwing in some like, okay, I could see this team being feisty on this day. And obviously like you see those like if a team's coming off a bye week and stuff, try to use that. And I think I got my record a little bit more realistic to what they will be. So in my first question to you, Dobbs, is what was the most surprising thing you saw while doing this record? Because this record prediction, because when I saw some of the records of the teams that I was previously high on going into the season, it really, really shocked me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to say for me, and I'm not going to spoil it right now, but either the Raiders or the Patriots record is what surprised me most.
Okay.
Because again, I went in knowing what I wanted.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not what you get with these.
No, mine was the Broncos. I really thought they would have a better record. But what I came to find out when I was doing these is they really can't. Like, they really can't. Like, there has to be a certain number of losses and wins every single year in the NFL. And you really can't. So just like the summary of my picks is there's going to be some really talented teams in the AFC that missed the playoffs. We already knew that. But just looking at it, you're just like, oh my God. And then something else, the NFC is going to be a lot closer than you think besides the Eagles and the Seahawks. Or not Eagles and Seahawks. I got the talk on my mind that pissed everyone off.
That's hilarious.
The Eagles and 49ers. And then the bad teams are really bad. Like their record is far beyond like what the other teams' records are, like far worse. So yeah, I mean, kind of, do you want to go down? Let's see what you want to do. So let's start in the AFC. And let's start from the bottom. Okay. So my bottom 4 teams were at 13. I had the Broncos at 7-10, the Raiders at 6-11, the Colts at 2-15, and then the Texans at 2-15.
So we got 3. Okay, so we're 3 or 4 of the same.
Okay. Who did you not have?
So the one I didn't have was I didn't have the Broncos that low.
Okay.
Now the Broncos are very close here. They're just not that low.
Okay. Who did you have instead of the Broncos?
I got the Titans over here instead.
Okay, so this is a thing. So I was at originally really low on the Titans my first time through. And also, guys, if you're watching this, we will link this in the description. So yeah, like Dobb said, shout out Playoff Predictors. Awesome. You can go through the whole season. If you click on the team on the side, it'll show you their whole season's games. And like I said, at first you may think something that we're saying is very out of body, but if you go through and do this, you will realize how hard it is to actually pick. And you may go through it and then look at the side and be like, oh my God, how did this happen? So you said you had who? My bad.
Yeah, no. So because that's the thing is, looking at it, our record prediction for the Titans are definitely, this is the first thing that's a little polarizing between us because we got a 4-game difference between us on the Titans.
Yeah, I had the Titans at number 10 at 10-7.
And so I'm at 13 at 6-11.
Okay.
So all right, so I'll tell you, this is a good discourse right here. Now we'll get started with the Titans here. So let me just pull up exactly, I'm gonna get their lineup right in front of me, but I'll tell you right off the top of my head. The thing that comes to my mind with the Titans is the word regression, right? So when I think of the Titans, I think, okay, regressing. But they're in that situation also, and let me be clear, they're kind of regressing to, in my opinion, progress. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the regression's got to happen, but they're counting and they're banking on the young QBs developing behind Tannehill, and then that window comes in to slide them in whenever that is going to be, whenever they plan on doing that. You have a great head coach in Vrabel. So let me be clear. The floor is definitely still very high, and they're definitely not in a terrible position for being a, in my opinion, quote unquote, bad team. Because then obviously here you have Hunter, who doesn't even think they're going to be a bad team. But then, like we said, the positives. Okay, the D line looks awesome. You have a top 5 D line. When they come out in 5, and in like the 3-4, and they're rushing you for real, that's going to be a really hard rush to stop. O-line a little bit volatile though. Receiving core, like we said, you got D-Hop. Besides that, rather thin. But then you got King Henry, still counting on Tannehill, a great young tight end in Okonkwo. It's like, realistically, and Kevin Byard's still at the center of the defense, regardless how you want to look at it. I mean, the Titans are a very solid team.
Yeah. So here's where I think I get my wins from, okay? They play the Texans twice. I have the Texans being one of the worst teams in the NFL. So I think they grab 2 wins there. I think they also sweep the Colts, so that's 4 wins. And then I think they split one with Jacksonville. So we're at around 5, okay? But they also play the NFC South, which is a very weak division. So I think the Saints beat them week 1. And then I have them losing to the Falcons, but I do see them beating the Bucks and the Panthers. So they should be around, what is that? Not 9 wins? No, 8 wins. So yeah, and then I have them actually beating the Browns week 3. I think that'll be a scrappy game. So yeah, I just see them like they're one of those teams that could just sneak out a win. Like I could see them beating the Dolphins in week 14. Like it's possible. It's possible.
Those are the 2 games, literally the ones you said, bro. The Browns and the Dolphins were standing out very much.
Yeah.
They could steal them. And if they did in this case, they would be, they'd be 8-9. It'd be a huge difference.
So another thing I really thought about is D lines versus O lines. Okay. I don't know. Teron Armstead should be back and by then, but like the Dolphins O line is really weak in my opinion. And the Titans have a scary D line and they play very, very physical. And the Browns do have a good O line. I just think it's one of those things where it's still early with Deshaun and they're still getting in the flow of things. And I feel bad for any AFC North team just because they got to go through a gauntlet this year.
Yeah,
but
they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Titans are a team. Sadly, though, in the AFC, 10-7 is not enough to make the playoffs.
That is crazy. Yeah, your AFC is very top heavy over there.
Oh yeah, no. So I have a lot of teams, and we'll discuss that later. But yeah, no, I really like the Titans. I don't think their offense is as bad as a lot of people think. I think D-Hop. Now, let me get this wrong. Me and Dobbs were talking about this before the show. So we never did like this record prediction before today. And we're higher on some teams and like lower on some teams than we thought. But like going through this is like the reality of it. This is the reality if these teams are healthy of like what they're going to be facing. So yeah, no, I think the Titans are one of those teams that are definitely up in the air. I think Tannehill can bounce back. Their defense is good. Vrabel's a great coach. So I think the Titans are either going to surprise a lot of people and still miss the playoffs, or this may be that year where they're like, all right, it's Levis time.
No, absolutely, bro. That's very true. That is very true.
Okay. So
the Titans are weird.
So where did you have the Broncos then?
So I had the Broncos at 11.
Okay. So we'll do the next 4. So I had the Patriots, or I had the Steelers at number 9. I had them at 10-7. I had the Titans at 10-7 at 10, the Browns at 8-9 at 11, and then the Patriots at 8-9 at 12.
Okay. See, my next few are definitely really interesting here.
Oh, you know what? Let me do 8 too. So 8, I had 11-6, the Chargers, and then we'll move into the playoffs.
That's what I was thinking. Oh yeah, so when we'll just add all the teams. Okay, yeah. So then my next 5 here coming up, the next 5 that are under, like you said, not making the playoffs. I got the Patriots here at 6-11.
Okay.
Like I said, that's just
yeah.
Feels ridiculously weird. I wanted to be sneaking them somewhere around 500 territory, but like you said, it just
you can't, man. Not with the AFC East.
Yeah, I would say absolutely not. I would be stealing wins away from other teams, and then I would be making one of these my top heavy teams, towards a wild card when they don't deserve to be.
Yeah,
I can't be picking and choosing. I got to go with what feels right. And to be honest, what felt right when I was doing this was Patriots rounded out 6-11, bro, which is crazy. Then above that, Broncos at 7-10. Same situation though. Felt very crazy. I hate to be doing my dude Sean Payton like that, right? It felt wrong.
Yeah.
But again, the reality situation is, especially in the Broncos case with their division, everything going on over there, they need some time, I think, to build a few more things.
Yeah.
Get used to what's going to be going on down there with the Sean Payton offense. But I think you're going to see a good transition year versus the garbage going on last year, regardless.
I think it's a culture setting year for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I just think it's going to be like imagine the Vikings last year, except if they lost most of their close games instead of winning them.
Yeah,
I think that's like kind of how the Broncos will be in a sense. You know what I mean? Like good close fighting.
I would feel a little bit more confident in that coaching, like that culture though. With the Broncos,
for sure.
I know what you're saying.
That's why I think I could sneak them a few more wins, but they're going to be there in a few years. And then we got the Steelers at 7-10. Like we were saying, the Steelers one of those teams where we're kind of gassing towards. I have them at
10-7.
Like I was gassing them towards that 500 range, and I was like, it just didn't feel right. I'm sorry. Somehow, bro, I don't know. I just couldn't find a way to sneak in a few more of them. I gave them all the wins I felt they're going to get. I didn't really feel like I had too many upsets going on. I just think the Steelers, unfortunately, one of those teams that get outmatched a lot of weeks. They have a very tough schedule. So yeah, and I'm sorry, Steelers fans, 7-10. We're making a jump here though. At number 9. Straight to 10-7 with the Chargers.
Okay.
Still missing the playoffs though.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But like,
the
$260 man, whatever the deal was, not making the playoffs. But the situation looks like, especially with Staley over there still. I'm sorry, Chargers fans. You guys know how I feel. I don't know. I couldn't do it compared to the other teams, the other coaching staffs in the AFC. It just doesn't seem right. And then, man, my boy Mac McDaniels too, missing the playoffs right here at 10-7 with the Dolphins. Just felt wrong. But again, everything about the AFC just felt so wrong this year. This record prediction is hard to do. You don't judge us until you get in this fucking website yourself and get to doing the hard stuff. I promise you, it's not going to go how you thought it was.
Okay, yeah. So, what team do you want to talk about? Let's pick a team to talk about here.
Chargers missing the offs.
Chargers, Steelers, or Browns? What do you want to do?
See, I feel like we've done a fair amount of Chargers discourse recently.
Let's do Steelers.
So yeah, maybe let's cut the Chargers out. And yeah, I feel like the Browns we've done a few. So let's do the Steelers.
Okay. So I got them at 10-7. I actually think a lot of people are arguing that the AFC East might be the most competitive division. I'm willing to argue that the AFC North is. All 4 of those teams should be in the playoffs. All 4 of them. It's not going to happen because in mine, the last team making the playoffs is 12-5. 12-5. So anyway, here's where I see the Steelers winning. I actually... And don't get mad, 49ers fans, because I have you at the 13-4. But I think the Steelers can steal the home opener. I think the 49ers get hot later in their years.
Where do you think they're going to steal it?
I think they can steal it. Or not the home opener, week 1. Well, they are. What is the home opener for them? I actually have them losing to the Raiders. But yeah, I mean, it's just the AFC North is a brutal division. Brutal. All 4 of those teams should be in the playoffs. And then what division do they play? Let me see. Oh, I think they play the AFC South, right? Yeah, they play the AFC South. So they got the Titans, who they beat, the Texans, who they beat, the Colts, who they beat. It's really just about scheduling, guys. Like, that really determines like a huge part of the win-loss record. And they play the Cardinals. Like, anytime you play the Cardinals, it's a free win.
No, absolutely. See, my thing is, though, so I had a few interesting things happening.
Okay.
Whereas in my case, I had the Titans stealing the game against
I could see that.
Against the Steelers.
That's going to be one of the best games of the year, or just very boring.
No, yeah, well, it's definitely going to be nowhere in between. And then I had, who did I have stealing games against? Let me take a look here. I had the Packers stealing a game against them, too. I feel like that's probably one you didn't have.
Yeah.
So and then there you go with that one. And then the other one where I had was, then I just didn't have them stealing week 1. So that's the difference between you and me for the Steelers, which is nothing crazy. Like you said, they're 2 very easy swings where it's like, you can definitely see it happening. So
yeah,
it's no disrespect. It's just like you said, AFC North. Oh my God. I'm with you on it. I think it is the most competitive division. I agree completely. Whereas like we said with the West,
yeah,
man, there's maybe a bit of a drop off between they're competitive, but then we know the Chiefs are the top heavy one. And then it kind of dwindles a little bit. With AFC North, it's like, no, these guys all really are like I don't want to say it with the Bengals.
I think the Bengals are top tier, but I also think that changes depending on how long Joe Burrow's injury is.
That's what I was trying to say. Is I didn't have the words for it, but so then when you know that exactly that they're not going to be healthy basically the whole year, it evens out.
I also want to say this. Don't be surprised if the Ravens have a better record than the Bengals this year.
I had one below
I'm
them.
super high on the Ravens this year. And
Ravens
also,
culture going on?
if you look at the Ravens, we'll get to them when we talk about the playoffs. When you look at the Ravens schedule, it's kind of easy. It's fairly easy. It's fairly easy.
I remember I was going to look at the record and I was like, I bet it's going to be like, 9-8, 10-7. I was like, I mean, I guess I really kind of spoiled what it's going to be now.
Yeah.
Kind of. Maybe no, I didn't. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it was higher than that. So I was like, whoa.
Okay. So let's finish up the Steelers and we'll get to the AFC playoffs. What is your opinion on, do you think this team flies or dies by Kenny Pickett?
This year's going to...
Let's say their defense stays healthy.
See, the thing is, I actually can't even give you an answer to that yet. I'll give you the answer best answer I can give you right now.
Okay.
Though. What I saw last year was definitely a guy who hung in the pocket in big moments, delivered accurate balls in big moments, and he made the clutch the best time for him. If he can do that in all 4 quarters, I actually, like, Kenny Pickett could be a really good quarterback in the league. He hasn't showed me that yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to use next year as how I'm going to view him.
Yeah.
I can't form an honest opinion yet. He showed me a lot of good intangible in college. He showed us a lot of good intangible last year, just not consistently. If he can put it together consistently, I'll say, Kenny Pickett could be a starter for a long time in this league for the Steelers. If not, it'll be a volatile situation where it's like, bro, I always have those. Bro, you know what my alarm is for? It's to post the talk too. It's literally to get the content going for the gang. I'm sorry, gang. But back to my rant. I'll cut there. I'm sorry. Where was I at?
No worries.
What was the
basically? Does the Steelers fly or die?
There we go. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. I completely lost my train of thought. All right. Let me turn off my other one at 6:55 too, real quick, and then I will go back because then just in case that goes off in the middle of recording.
Oh, you're good. No, but yeah, I'll just answer this in my opinion. I think he is the biggest determining factor on if the Steelers succeed because, like, I think their rushing game will be good. I think their defense will be good. If he can get the ball to his players and play like at an elevated game manager, like I consider Kirk Cousins an elevated game manager because he's better than the typical guy, but he's not gonna, in my opinion, level guys up. Like he's gonna, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna play with his talent. He's gonna do the best of his abilities. Kenny Pickett to me can be that guy. Maybe a little bit more clutch, but I just think that their offense and their team is really gonna determine on if he can move the ball through the air.
No, for sure. And I think they're going to try to get him moving a little bit more too. He, like I said, he has a weird intangible ability where he throws the ball in the run really well for his size and stuff. Well. I feel like they're going to use that a little bit more this year. He's he's an interesting quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't look like he would fit the skill set he necessarily has, but he can throw on the run. He can move around for sure. Interesting quarterback.
All right. So let's move on to the AFC top 7. These are playoff teams, in our opinion. So, Dobbs, let's go up from 7. I'll say my team, you say your team. Miami Dolphins at 7 at 12-5.
Buffalo Bills at 7 at 11-6.
Ooh, I have Buffalo Bills at 6 at 12-5.
Ooh, I got the Ravens at 6 at 11-6.
I have number 5, the Bengals at 12-5.
Ooh, I got the Browns right here at 11-6.
Okay, I had the Browns missing the playoffs at 8-9. So number 4, I have, mind you, in case you don't know how seeding works, these are only the division winners. So if you're in the top 4, that means you won your division.
A lot of people seem to
don't understand this rule for whatever reason. At number 4, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 12-5.
We agreed on this one. I just had them at 11-6.
Okay. At number 3, I have the Ravens winning their division at 12-5.
Got the Bengals right here at 12-5.
No surprise, I have the Chiefs winning their division at 13-4. They're the number 2 seed.
Yo, this is crazy. We interchanged, though. I had the Jets right here at 12-5.
Okay, I have the Jets winning their division at 13-4.
And then, I had the Chiefs at 14-3 winning the conference by a healthy 2 games.
So the only team that is different for us is the Browns making the playoffs instead of, you have the Browns instead of the Dolphins, right?
Yes, I had the Dolphins out by literally a game too. So,
okay, gotcha. So that's the only team that switched out for playoffs, right?
Yeah, great minds think alike.
Okay. So what would you say? I honestly think this could be some of the greatest AFC playoffs we've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it's weird feelings about this year's AFC playoffs. Weird feelings, right? Because again, we know the Chiefs are undoubtedly like the favorite because of Mahomes and they're the Chiefs. They
Yeah.
have the allure. They got Andy Reid, but
They're
you
they're a top 4 seed no matter
for
what.
sure. But this is where I was going to take this is you're thinking the same thing as me. For sure, I didn't know if we were, but now it's clear we are.
Okay.
Something about the Jets feels different now that A-Rod's there. And it's not that they could even I'm not even saying they could take the AFC this year, but I'm not saying they couldn't. We know they could. What the fuck? We know this. So it's like, man, the Jets are going to be sneaky.
So,
but even though they're not, they're kind of been loud now. But
I actually have them starting at 3-3 before the bye. I think they pick it up right after the bye, and the only game they lose after their bye is that Dolphins game.
See, that's funny though, because you know what? I actually end up going 5-0 out the gate.
Okay.
I see what you mean though. Where I definitely could have been.
I think they're a team that's going to take a minute to gel with Rodgers. So, but to have them still around like a 1 game difference, the only reason they're ahead of the Chiefs is because they're 10-2 in their conference. I have the Chiefs at 9-3 in the conference. So, I think the Jets can win it this year. I think they can win it next year if they run it back with the same team. Their D-line is disgusting. So another reason I had them winning a lot of these games is because, and I split one with the Dolphins. I just think their D-line is going to destroy the Dolphins O-line. Not convinced they're going to be able to hold down their receivers. The Jets have DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, great secondary. Sometimes I just feel like you can't contain them, and it's that AFC East rivalry. I just think you're going to split one.
No, for sure. That offense is so explosive, it doesn't really matter. You could have 2 All-Pros in front of them, which, like, in a sense, the Dolphins technically have, even though they haven't been All-Pros the same year. You get my point. So it's like, yeah, it's just good luck.
So why do you have the Browns in? Why do you think the Browns will be? Because that's a crazy thing. That's a crazy thing to expect. I mean, not saying I don't think it can happen, but having the Dolphins outside of the playoffs and having the Browns inside, it's kind of crazy. So why do you think they're going to have a great season?
It is, but then I feel like we say, when you look at how well the Browns are built as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the Dolphins are more fun and explosive per se.
The Browns clearly have a better team.
Like the all-around team is going to the Browns for me. And my thing comes down to, I think I'm much higher on how Deshaun's going to play. I feel like than a lot of people.
Okay.
Because again, this is one of those statements nowadays where people kind of like, to the point of how a lot of people feel about Deshaun. At this point, a lot of people don't even want to hear this. It's kind of like people are going to tune it out because, they don't like Deshaun anymore. But my thing is, like, before Deshaun got injured, Deshaun was a top 3 quarterback in the league, top 5 easily quarterback in the league, where I'm talking like this dude's talent was on par with anybody else. And he wasn't at Mahomes' level, but he was swinging with Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like, he would go in there and swing with Mahomes. He showed it before. He's done it. So the point is, like, and he just didn't have the team around him like Mahomes had. I feel like kind of how I looked at a lot of these games that they would, literally even the playoff game, for example, where they went up the big lead. Yeah, they choked terribly. But also because I think that's kind of replicating of how much better the Chiefs are than you get my point. We know Deshaun Watson can hoop. If Deshaun Watson comes back and stays hooping, I think that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And also, to answer the question in a direct sense of like what we probably had different, I had them upsetting the 49ers. I had what else was a big one that I feel like you probably maybe didn't have? You probably had the Bears beating them. Maybe I didn't. Okay, I had them beating the Bears. And then I had them splitting. I think every division game was probably a big thing too.
I actually had a surprising one. I had the Broncos taking their game in week 12. I think that's a game where it's like, I think the Browns are still a little chaotic, and I think the Broncos will be honed in this season.
No, that's true.
I think that togetherness will win.
And then the Titans one is also the one we had different too.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. It's gonna be a really interesting year. I had them losing to the Niners though.
Yeah, see,
I had the Jags beating them as well.
Don't get me wrong, the Niners could totally beat them.
Yeah.
But in this simulation, the Browns are a playoff team, so we'll see if I was right or wrong.
So, want to know a crazy stat?
Let's hear it.
Last time the Cleveland Browns had a positive point differential was 2007. And that was the last time they finished the highest of second in their division. They have not finished higher than second since 2007. Even when they are 11-5, they're third, which is crazy. So yeah,
it's actually enough to make me sick to my stomach. And obviously, I have no affiliation with the Browns.
Oh yeah, it's actually disgusting. So just to say this before we move on to the NFC. The AFC is so loaded, and there's going to be some really good football teams that miss the playoffs, really good quarterbacks that miss the playoffs. I truly believe if you're not 11-6 or 12-5, like, you're not making the playoffs. And the Bills being 12-5 and being the 6th seed, the Bengals being 12-5 and being the 5th seed, disgusting.
Disgusting.
All right, moving into the NFC. My bottom 4 teams. At 13, I got the Rams at 5-12. At 14th, I got the Bucks at 5-12. 15, I got the Cardinals at 2-15. At 16, I got the Carolina Panthers at 2-15.
So I had the exact same order as you.
Okay.
I'll just tell you the difference between me and you that was just the records. I had the Rams at 5-12, had the Bucks at 5-12, Panthers at 5-12, and then I had the Cardinals at 3-14.
See, okay, so here's my thing with the Panthers. Okay. Let's talk about the Panthers, because it truly doesn't matter how good they are because they don't have their first round pick.
No, right.
And I really tried to keep my bias out of it. I really did. But the Panthers have a really tough schedule.
Oh,
okay.
Terribly tough.
And they have a decent defense. I don't want to say really good. They have a pretty decent defense. But my thing is, I don't know if I trust that O-line and the run game enough to keep them in it. Like, even though if the defense can keep the scores down low, I don't know how much I trust the pass game and run game to score a ton of points. Okay. So even if you look at PFF, right? Last year in total defensive grade, the Panthers were ranked 23rd. So my thing is, if the defense is supposed to be your strong point, I don't really know how, like, you rank 23rd, right? And on offense, they ranked, 26th. So it's just kind of like a bad team. They lose their best player on offense. They get a young quarterback who I think is going to be awesome. I really like Bryce Young. But you saw DJ Shark went down today.
That's what I was just waiting to bring up here.
And it's a hamstring issue. So those tend to linger even when you come back.
Well, so let's take this opportunity real quick, and we'll pivot off this. We'll go back to what you were saying. Just quick tidbit. So yeah, let's take a look here. Well, then who is coming in to replace DJ Chark, right? Okay. Well, Terrace Marshall Jr. is already questionable right now, and he's been dealing with injuries basically his whole career. And then Laviska Shenault behind him. Oh, cool, great. He also has been dealing with injuries his whole career, questionable right now as well. Behind him, Javon Wims. I know that name sticks well with you, right?
Yeah, no.
So do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Like, let's be realistic for a second.
Adam
Like we
Thielen
said,
is your wide receiver one.
And this was what we were saying. If you go back about 3 months, what we said about the Panthers was, well, at least Bryce has a solid group of pass catchers and they have experience. Well, now it's like he has 2 of these guys healthy. And I think about this more and more. How likely is Adam Thielen really to play 17 games? I'd say about a 10% chance. So this is where things get really tough with the Panthers.
So the Panthers were 21st in run block, but 11th in pass blocking. So hopefully you hope that their line takes a step forward.
But have you seen them in preseason? That's where I want
I've
to
heard
bring
it's
this
really
up.
bad, but those are also the backups.
Yes, but like even when they've had a few reps where there have had some starters in, it just looks really rough. And it's like, I know it's going to be obviously figuring out how to, they're starting, it's a whole new quarterback. It's a very, his height isn't what matters in this case. It's just his mobility, figuring out, blocking around him is going to be a little bit different than what they're used to. You're going to have to figure it out. It's going to be getting used to it. It's a process. But the point of the matter is, it's not going to work with how it looked in preseason because of how big he is. There's extra pressure on you when you're guarding someone like that. For the Saints, for example, Drew really wasn't getting sacked a lot, if ever, because truly there's a lot of pressure. Like, obscure guy, like you can't be letting that guy when they're that small, you can't. Like they're going to get hurt so much quicker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on this O-line.
There
is. Everyone knows this about Bryce. It's not like it's a secret. It's just
any of these teams I see them playing, I just don't see them moving the ball at will on them.
No, I really don't. That's the problem is like you're saying, the offense is not that it's terrible. It's very, very super mid.
Yeah.
And then theme where you have a couple starters on defense that are awesome. And then minus that.
And so here's my thing too. Okay, so they have a couple places they can get wins. They can definitely beat the Texans, right? They can beat the Colts. But here's my thing. Playing the Texans, they're a more like well-rounded team to me. They really are. Like, I like their receivers. I like D'Amico Ryans and what they're going to do for that defense.
Defense is going to be nasty.
It's just like, where do the Panthers get their wins? I have them beating the Colts, and I have them stealing a game versus the Bucks.
No, I mean, honestly, to your point, if Kenyon Green can make a humongous jump this year, true. Honestly, what you said about the Texans is probably true as of right now. I'd say though, minus that, the Texans they're probably pretty close together. But again, similar statuses of how the team is being built at the moment. So it's not like that's to be unexpected per se.
Right.
Yeah, interesting situation with the Panthers for sure. And it's definitely something to monitor for Bears fans.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I've been paying a lot of attention. Okay, so let's do the next group of teams that don't make the playoffs. So at 12, I have the Giants at 7-10. At 11, I have the Vikings at 7-10.
Wow.
At 10, I have the Packers at 7-10.
Okay, we're fair on that.
Okay, the Commanders I have at 9 at 7-10. The Saints I have at 8 and 9 at 8 and 9.
No foul. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So yeah, let's get into this. So I'll tell you mine now. This is going to create some good discourse here because you're going to be kind of sick of this next one.
Okay.
So at 12, I had the Commanders 6-11.
Okay.
But I'll explain myself on that one. Packers we agreed on for sure 7-10. Great minds think alike on that one. The Giants 8-9.
Okay.
Felt really wrong. Very wrong to my boy Dable and everything about that. But I'm sorry, Giants fans. And then I had the Bears rounding out at 8-9. I could have very well see you guys sneaking out at 9-8, but I think it's going to be somewhere right in that range. Either way, they missed the playoffs in the simulation. And then the Vikings at 9-8, last team out.
Okay.
We did agree on the Vikings. I really thought for sure one of us was going to have the Vikings in the playoffs, but
they had 11 one-score games.
That was what did it. I literally going through and I'm like,
and the way I look at it, the Bears had 8.
Well, and it's like, and again, how much did they improve or regress off last year? It's like I think things kind of evened out, right? It's like Kirk got older. Yeah, you had a Jordan Addison. Yeah, you could pick and choose a few things, but that's my point. If you can go back and forth with things,
But
so it's
I
like
really think people are underrating the loss of Dalvin Cook.
we're gonna see it.
I don't think Alexander Madison is that guy. So so what do we want to talk about here? Let's pick a team to talk about.
So I think we can agree we're going to leave the Bears out of this one.
Yeah,
we've done a lot of Bears
I don't
discourse.
want to talk about the
We've
Bears.
definitely done too much Packers discourse. We're going to leave the Packers out of this one. We did a fair amount of Commanders discourse recently, I feel like, too. I think a good one from here right now, it would either be
Vikings
the Vikings
or
or Giants. Yeah. And I feel like we haven't given the Giants enough love.
All right, let's talk about the Giants.
We've done a fair amount of Viking stuff with Kirk.
Here's my thing on the Giants. I actually think they're going to be a better team this year.
Yes. No, exactly.
But it's not going to show up in the record.
That's what sucks. It's like this doesn't feel fair.
Because, okay, so think about it. They have to play the Cowboys twice a year. They have to play the Eagles twice a year. And then they have to play, if I'm not mistaken, the AFC East. So it's like you're going to play the Dolphins, the Bills, who I actually have them stealing a game from.
And that I can see that.
Like, the Jets beat them. The Dolphins beat them. I even think the Patriots beat them because I think their defense is so good, and I think they'll shut them down. It's just like they get a game against the Rams, they get a game against the Cardinals, but it's just like they play a really rough schedule, and I don't necessarily see them sweeping the Commanders this year.
No, I don't. I literally don't have that happen either. So,
yeah, it's just like they're going to be better because I think you're a second year under Dable. You're in a better culture, but it's just like there's so many mid teams in the NFC besides the Eagles and 49ers. I just don't see how you get more. Okay, here's the thing. I can see them winning a couple more games, but I don't see how you win more than 9. Like, realistically.
No, for sure. And like, well, here, I'll even give you a prime example of something that I think that needs to be discussed here. Here we go. This is prime. And this, I think, is help people understand our point of view, especially on the situation like you're saying. Number one, like everything about what you said about the games he plays is already true enough. How about this, though? When we look at the Giants, specifically the secondary, you got 2 rookie corners that are going to be starting in any type of like nickel and dime sets, right? So we already have like I don't want to say volatile even situation because I am high on both of them. But no matter how good a rookie corner is, they're going to make a few mistakes here and there. It's not going to be seamless. And it's kind of tough to win a lot of games with that situation. And then as far as the secondary goes, the safeties, I don't love either safety. I mean, Xavier McKinney has flashes and he's obviously a productive player. But in terms of being like fantastic in coverage and a few other things along those lines that, there's just the point is he's not a great safety. He's a solid safety. And Pinnock, same kind of concept where it's like, I don't know. I feel like, again, that's kind of the point is the defense is going to be a little bit shaky, I feel like. And then on the O-line, again, I like John Michael Schmidt. I think he's be awesome. But let's say he has a really poor rookie season. Then you have, and if Evan Neal plays poor again too, well, then that's a volatile situation right there. And I don't know how confident I am in Darren Waller staying healthy. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to make like a humongous leap. I think we already know what Daniel Jones is.
Yeah.
Kind of situation.
I actually think Darren Waller is going to have a really good year.
So it's if he stays healthy, he will. I just don't know if I think he can.
I think he's going to be like that, not saying to the level, but like the Kelsey of their offense.
Oh,
no. He's just that number one option they feed.
Well, we've been seeing in preseason. Oh, dude, and I'll say this to your point, I'm glad you brought this up. They're going to use him just like how the Saints used to use Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
That's definitely if you want to talk about like a player comp, that's how they're going to use him in their offense. Like Dable sees him like like I just need me a tight end that I can make. I'm going to go line him up at Y. I can go line him up at X. It doesn't even matter. You can literally line this tight up anywhere.
Yeah.
And he can go run routes and he can go body dudes. That's exactly how they're going to use him. I agree with you completely though. Could be the best year of his career if he just stays healthy. I just don't, me personally, I can't see it right now. I hope I'm wrong. Really, I hope I'm wrong. I'm knocking on wood that I am. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting year for the Giants. And it's almost like you can't even judge Dable for their success. They're stuck in a shitty situation.
That's why if they make the mistake of like canning him somehow or something, I don't think you would, right? Yeah, but you know that New York pressure gets.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. That's kind of the X factor in this situation.
Okay, so here's the deal. Before you shit on a team and the record, do this. Do this because it is hard.
Yeah, no, you can't unless you've done this. You
Okay.
have to step in our shoes.
So, moving on to playoff teams of the NFC. At number 7, I have the 8-9 Seattle Seahawks.
We agreed our record was different.
At number 6, I have the 8-9 Chicago Bears. At number 5, I have the 10-7 Dallas Cowboys. At number 4, I have the 10-7 Lions. At number 3, I have the 10-7 Falcons. At number 2, I have the 13-4 49ers. At number 1, I have the 13-4 Eagles.
Hey. All right, bro, here we go. First team in the playoffs I had, we agreed on. Seahawks, a little bit different, though. I had them at 10-7.
Okay.
Number 6, I had the Falcons, 10-7.
Okay.
Number 5, I had the Cowboys at 10-7. 4, we agreed on 2. Detroit Lions at 11-6.
Okay.
Number 3, we got the 49ers, 11-6. Number 2, you're going to, again, I'm going to have to explain this one because everyone's going to point the bias finger at me on this one, but I promise you it's not. I'm going to come to you objectively. I had the Saints at 12-5.
Okay.
And then I had the Eagles winning the conference at 13-4.
Okay, so which team do you want to talk about? So the biggest difference is you had the Bears missing and I had the Saints missing, right?
Yeah, so I feel like we should let me just address that. I don't want to talk about it.
Talk about the Saints.
Let me just address because again, this thing you got to realize, and again, you probably said a few things, thinking a few things different. I just had him look. If I thought the Saints were a better team, I picked them to win the game. And if I didn't pick them to win the game. So let's just go over the games I had them losing, I think is the first thing. Well, actually, and let me explain this too. That's the thing is the Saints don't play a lot of games this year where I thought they were the worst team. I had them splitting a lot of division games because I respect our division opponents. They usually play us tough. I had us losing outright to the Jaguars and the Vikings. And I had us losing a game to the Falcons, had us losing a game to the Bucks. And then I had us losing also to, who was the other one? Where am I missing one here? It's like I'm reading the screen, but I'm not seeing where's the last one I had? Oh yeah, and I had this thing sounds weird, but I actually had the Panthers beating us at home because they usually play us tough. And it's things it doesn't. Best thing is if I had them winning that game, and then the Saints are tied for the first seed in the conference, which also doesn't feel right. So it's like
No, I feel you.
It's weird, dude. I don't want it to be this way where it seems like I'm gassing them. I'm not. It's just truthfully, the Saints actually do have the weakest schedule in the league.
Yeah, it's
number one.
It's pretty weak.
So,
I had the Giants beating y'all. I had the Pats beating y'all. I had you splitting with the Bucks. I had you splitting with the Falcons. I had you sweeping the Panthers. I actually have you guys beating the Titans week 1, but I do have Green Bay beating you guys in week 3. I think the Saints are going to be good. It's just like, oh, this was so hard, bro. I really think if Michael Thomas stays healthy, if the Saints defense can play like they should, and Olave takes that next step, Alvin Kamara comes back fresh, you guys actually have a really good team and have a good shot at making the playoffs. But then I look at the playoffs, and it's like, okay, so the Bears have to miss, which is fine. I could see them missing the playoffs. I'm not going to act like they're a shoo-in. But yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. We're pretty much on the same page with everything here. So
I feel like, yeah, well, the one
I just don't. I personally don't see the Saints being 12-5, but I do see them making the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Is, don't get me wrong. Like you said, if things go wrong that you had going right in the opposite sense, like it's like, then yeah, then we're going to be in that territory you have us at right there. So it's like, certainly. And again, we had the Bears with the same record, to be clear. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
You just had, so in your simulation, they just ended up making the playoffs.
Right,
so
right,
we thought like the same thing about the Bears.
Right.
I feel like, what's the team that we'd really wanted? Maybe, who do we want? Like, maybe we want to give the Falcons a little bit of a talk here.
So here's my thing. I think the Falcons are actually going to be really good as long as Desmond Ridder plays okay.
Oh, no, it all comes down to him. If you gave the Falcons a star quarterback right now, I think a lot of people would agree that they'd be a hyped team.
They might be the favorites in the NFC.
For sure. Like the favorites out of the NFC South, for sure.
Oh, they would be a lock, in my opinion, for the NFC South if they had a star. If they had a top 10 quarterback, they're a lock.
For sure. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, I have them losing to, I actually have the Commanders stealing a game from them. I think the Commanders are sneaky and can beat anybody on any day. Have the Jets beating them. I actually have the Bucks beating them. Funny enough, I have the Colts stealing a game. I just think
didn't, you'd have they'd have an even better record in your simulation though. So
I have the Colts. I think the Colts from week 14 on is when they hit their stride. I think that's when Anthony Richardson starts to figure it out.
I like that. I mean, that definitely is possible. I just kind of the Colts just stealing a few, but it was like, yeah, I didn't have him stealing a lot of them. But and then yeah, so my thing with the Falcons, I think we had them losing almost all the same games. I just probably had the Saints. Well, no, actually, you said you split with the Saints too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the big difference. Did you have the Titans beating the Falcons?
No. So
yeah, I had them stealing the game from the Commanders. But other than that, yeah, I mean, our Falcons prediction is pretty much the same thing. I think we agree that the NFC South's weak.
Yeah,
they're going to punch that this year.
I think it's Falcons Saints.
Oh no, there's no doubt. Unless Bryce Young plays like an All-Pro rookie year, which was basically a very slim chance of happening.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, there's no doubt.
Okay, so let's live predict the NFC playoffs. So
let's do it. How do you do it?
What teams did you have out? So you had so let's eliminate teams that we didn't have. So I had
so we have to eliminate the Saints and the Bears.
Saints and Bears, okay. And then Dolphins, Browns.
Yeah, it was the Browns.
Okay. So I'm automatically going to give a win to the teams. Okay. So Chiefs. Okay. So who? Okay. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. So I think we just need to pick one.
We just have to agree.
Okay. Let's just pick one. Do you want to do mine or yours?
Let's do yours.
Okay. All right. In the AFC, Chiefs versus Dolphins. Who you taking?
Give me Chiefs.
Yeah, you gotta be Chiefs. Bills, Ravens. Who you taking?
Give me the Bills.
I think the Bills too. Damn, Lamar. He can't catch a break. Jags, Bengals.
I feel like the Bengals right now are still probably the more talented team.
If the Jags addressed their defense, it would be so much different. They didn't do anything this offseason.
Bro, Doug Peterson's like, just give me the guys. Just give me the offensive guys. They're like, Doug, what the fuck, bro?
Lions, Cowboys. It should be the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll say I don't want to be biased. I do think the Cowboys are going to win that game if that game was played.
Okay, so Falcons, Bears, Falcons.
We got to go Falcons, right?
Seahawks, 49ers.
We got to
be Seahawks. Okay.
You mean the Niners?
That's what I meant.
I was like, he clicked the Niners. Yeah.
All right. Moving in from the wild card round to the divisional round. Jets, Bills.
We're thinking the same thing on this one, right?
Jets.
It's Jets Nation.
Bengals, Chiefs.
Why do I feel like the Bengals would win? Coming back with little spice this year?
Yeah, you don't know what's happening with Chris Jones.
That too. I think that's pretty important.
Could be like a Tyreek Hill situation where he gets traded right before the
Oh, that's how it's looking at this point. Because Veach doesn't play around, apparently.
Falcons, 49ers.
We got to go Niners, right? However, it's going to be that would be a slugfest.
That would be a fun game. Cowboys, Eagles. It's got to be the Eagles, man.
It's got to be.
It could be the year. Because, bro,
year?
I really think people are sleeping on Gilmore and Brandon Cooks. And I don't think I think the Eagles D-line is great. Eagles secondary is a little bit more shaky.
I say, let's assume the Eagles stayed healthy, though. I think I still would lean the Eagles.
Okay.
I felt like the Cowboys could steal it. Oh, and fuck, this is so sus. I
don't know. Eagles or Cowboys.
Let's go with the Eagles. I feel like if we didn't want to go Eagles, we would outright know it's not right. It's just that we know it's not right to not go with the Eagles. That's how we can't fully commit.
Okay. Bengals, Jets. Dude, I think the Bengals could do it, but the Jets I feel like they just have the juice this year.
Fuck it, I'm going Jets.
And I think the Jets are going to try to get because Corey Davis retired, so they have an extra $10 million now.
Oh my goodness. Throw the Jets on. Throw the Jets on.
I think the Jets are going to go get a receiver.
If the Devontae Adams thing
they're not getting Devontae, but I know what you're saying.
It's not happening. If they even like get a Pro Bowl receiver to add to that core.
Eagles or 49ers. I think it's the 49ers. But if the 49ers make it, they're destroying the Jets O-line.
You think this is the year? With Purdy?
Well, I don't know.
That's the thing that sucks. I feel like...
And you just never know with the 49ers injuries, bro.
That's why I feel like I want to go Eagles. It's like we get to this point, I don't even know what's going to happen. I feel like this could be could be the Super Bowl.
Jets, Eagles.
If that game happened, I feel like the Eagles would be so pissed off.
The Eagles would destroy the Jets O-line.
I think we got to go Eagles.
Wow. The Eagles win the Super Bowl. They come back.
Could Philly do it? Hey, I really didn't think that's what was going to end up in the simulation, to be honest.
In my thing, we have both 1 seeds going.
Hey, it's true to I think it's possible, bro. Could we have the perfect playoff prediction? I guess we're going to have to come back in 9 months.
Well, shout out playoff predictors. You guys did an awesome job at this. There's so much cool shit that you can do. I'm going to keep doing this.
It's like a Madden franchise. You can just endlessly simulate.
It's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching. This has been You Don't Know Ball 48. Dobbs, you want to take it away?
No, yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in again. Thanks so much. Leave a comment, drop a like, drop a sub. We want to see you back. We appreciate you guys a ton. We hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks so much for tuning in.